So hello and welcome to the AI Talkers. From today we are going to study complete data science, where we will cover different parts of the data science. We will first starting with the Power BI. So we'll first study Power BI. Okay. Actually, there is some reason why do we want to study Power BI first. Actually, we want to understand what data science is like, and this would be one of the most easiest thing to do. When we learn other things like Python, machine learning, deep learning, we actually left this. We always left this. Like most of the data science aspirants, they know about machine learning, they know about Python, but they don't know about these tools. So what actually happens when you initially want to get job in the industry, you must know Power BI, because as a fresher, sometimes it is too hard to get a job as an ML engineer, right? And or as a data scientist. So we actually want to start our journey anyhow. Like we don't want to stay, we don't want to always keep learning. We want to learn everything in the industry. So that is why this is actually going to be your gateway in the industry. So that is why I want to start this from the scratch, and after that we'll be moving to the other parts of the data science. So let's first know that what we are going to cover in our syllabus. Okay. So basically, as I already have told you that first we'll study Power BI. It's actually one of the visualization tools. We'll study detail about Power BI in this video itself. But before that, let's know about the syllabus, that what syllabus we are going to cover. So at first we are going to study about Python. Like right after covering the Power BI, we are going to study Python, where we'll study basics of Python like variables, loops, okay, function, function, and after studying function we're going to study like oops kind of stuff. So basically whatever Python needed for the data science will cover all of them. So and in fact this is going to take around 2 or 3 months roughly, because our goal is not just to study the Python, our goal is also to implement these in the project. So that is why most probably it would take 3 months to learn Python deeply, right? And after learning the Python, we're moving towards the next part, that would be statistics. So that would be statistics. Okay. So in statistics we'll study things like mean, median, mode. Okay. Where we cover descriptive statistics, inferential statistics, and in inferential statistics we cover things like z test, t test, okay, chi-square test. So we'll cover all of the tests. And there are things like standard deviations, variance, correlation, and after correlation we have covariance. So different kinds of concepts are there. So whatever concept involved in case of statistics, we'll cover all of them one by one. And again, like I always say, our goal is not just to learn but also to implement. So even in case of statistics, we'll try to implement the statistics on the real world data sets, so that you just not learn the formula but you also learn how to implement them in the industry, right? And when you're done with the statistics, we are actually going to move to one of the very important part, and that is machine learning. Because till now we have been learning Python statistics just to build a foundation for the machine learning. So finally we'll start learning the machine machine learning. Okay. But in case of machine learning, or like even before this, or maybe I can say that when we would be learning statistics, we would also cover two libraries here. Okay. Like right after we learn the statistics, we will cover 4 to 5 libraries, I guess. We will study libraries like pandas, numpy, matplotlib, okay, and then seaborn, plotly, bouquet, stream, streamlight, streamlight. So we'll study these libraries, and then thereafter we will move towards machine learning. Where in the machine learning, before we start learning any algorithms, we also learn about EDA. That what is EDA? We'll give like most of the time to the EDA, because when you want to make any algorithms, so before that you must know how to do the EDA. In fact, when you want to build your model, most of your time goes to the EDA part, because the better you are at the EDA, the better you will be at building any model. Because when you are building a model, in the end you are feeding data to the model, and the quality of the model actually depends upon the quality of your data. And EDA is actually the process which makes your data more better for your model to perform better. So that is why we're going to dedicate maybe 5 to 6 videos on this, on machine learning, and on EDA. And after covering EDA, we'll finally move to the machine learning algorithms, where we'll start learning by supervised, unsupervised, semi-supervised, and reinforcement learning. So basically, we'll study types of ML algorithms, And after we are done with this, we'll finally move to the next part, where in each of the types of algorithms, we'll try to understand that. Let's say I talk about the supervised. So we'll try to understand what is supervised and what kind of algorithms it has, like linear regression, logistic regression, decision tree, random forest. So we'll know what are the models contained in the supervised learning, and also we'll study each model in detail. Okay. And thereafter we'll study unsupervised learning as well, reinforcement learning as well. So the journey of machine learning is going to be long. It might, or it most probably would take around 4 months, 4 to 5 months. It would take 4 months, let's say, because I'm gonna be regular and I will try to put every single like every single day a video. It would not, like, I would try my best to not skip any days. So that is why. And along with that, I would also be giving assignment to all of you, like whoever following my videos, whether it's a 1%, 2%, or thousands of persons. I will be giving you proper assignments, so you have to follow each and every single day, right? So basically, like, there are a lot of algorithms in the machine learning. I'm just giving a little overview. In fact, there are like numbers of models in machine learning. So we'll study all of them. The models that require more attention will give more attention to them, but the model requiring less attention, we'll just try to have little overview of that. Okay. And after we are done with the machine learning, we'll move towards deep learning, where we'll try to study things like ANN. Okay. And after studying ANN, we'll study after studying A and N, we'll try to study uh, MLP, and then we'll try to go towards CNN, RNN, LSTM, bidirectional LSTM, like whatever models are there, right? In case of deep learning, we'll study all of them. We'll study all of them. So we would also study transformer. Okay, and then we'll come to the generative AI part, where we will study LLM models, and in case of LLM models, we'll like go towards making a chatbot. Okay, so we'll start making chatbot, RAG, okay, AI agents. Actually, in the end, I want to make you understand everything that comes in the data science domain. And like whenever you're going for any job role, so you are not limited to any one skill, because every single day the requirements are changing. Earlier, there was no need of machine learning, there was no need of deep learning for data analyst, but today everyone needs to know the artificial intelligence. So it is like you would be knowing AI from the deeper perspective. Like everyone know how to use AI, like you know how to use cloud, you know how to use ChatGPT. But I would try to make you understand that how ChatGPT works behind the scene, and for that you would need to understand machine learning, deep learning, LLMs. And in the end, you will be ready for the roles like a data scientist. Okay. So in the end, let me bring it up. Okay. So in the end, you will be ready for the role like data analyst, data scientist, data scientist, and Power BI developer. There's one of the most important skill that I forgot to mention. We're also going to learn SQL, so you can become SQL developer as well. SQL developer. And after this, we have roles like AI engineer. So like these are not only the roles, but if you study data science, these are not only the limited roles. You have a lot of roles, but these are some of the most desired roles that you want as a data science aspirant. But there are a lot and a lot to explore in data science, and there are a lot of job opportunities in data science, because today every business is driven by the data. Like whether it's a startup, whether it's an MNC, they need data to survive in the market, and they need someone to manage the data. So it's none other than data science aspirants. Okay. So let's actually start our introductions in the Power BI, like what we are going to study in the Power BI and what is the workflow in the Power BI, right? So let's try to understand that what is the workflow in case of Power BI. So at a first, the Power BI hota kya hai? So Power BI basically is a visualization tool. Like let's say you have data sets, okay? You have a thousands, like you have a thousands of rows in the data, thousands of rows, okay? Thousands and millions of rows in data. So if you want to make understand that what's going on in your organizations, you can't directly make this data understand to your managers, to your stakeholders. That's not actually possible, right? They actually need visuals. They want to understand visuals, which is easy to understand, easy to interpret, and using which they can take the decision. But if they have thousands of rows, millions of rows, they can't take decision based on this, right? So that is why we use visuals tools, where we turn these rows into the graphs, so that our managers, our stakeholders can understand that what's going on in our organizations, whether you talk about any sales team or any HR team. So what is happening overall? So the manager or the directors, anyone can have the overview that what's actually happening, and that is only possible if there is some visuals, because they don't want to understand this clutter data, like too many data. They actually don't make any sense. Okay, as long as you don't turn into the insight. So that is why here we use like this is so let's say, okay, let me make it a better. Okay, so let's say this is a data. Okay, structured data. It's basically in rows and columns. Okay, and here we have the visuals, or you say it as a reports. Okay, so in between that there is Power BI. Okay, so what actually this Power BI does, this actually turns this data into the reports. Okay, and you will use this Power BI tool that we call as the Power BI developer or business analyst. Okay, they use it. So it is not that business analyst is only limited to using Power BI. They have a lot of things to do in the organization, but they should know how to use Power BI. It is one of their tasks, right? So basically, this is what we are going to do. We are going to learn Power BI, where we will be turning data into the insights, and that we can do using different tools. And Power BI is one of such tools, right? So let's try to understand workflow in the Power BI, so that we can start when we are learning Power BI. We know the workflow. It is not just we are learning and we don't know the workflow, right? So basically, see, Power BI workflow, right? Power BI workflow. So first of all, what you will actually do, you like first we have data source. Okay. So whether you can import data from Excel, okay, CSV, CSV, SQL, like database, or any other. Like in Power BI, you're going to get a lot of options. We're going to make a videos on that. You are going to get a lot of options to import data, but these are some of them, right? And after you get data from the data source, then you are going to take your data to the Power Query. Power Query, right? Now what is Power Query? So Power Query is basically ये क्या करता है आपका, like what it actually does, it lets you clean your data, clean your data. There's a one question that you can also clean your data in Excel itself. Like when you are importing your data from Excel, you can clean it in Excel as well. Why do you need to clean in Power Query? So see, Power BI comes embedded in the Power Query. Power Query, like what I'm actually asking you the question, where you can clean your data in Excel when you are importing. Why do you need to clean in Power Query? What is the difference? So the difference is that when you clean your data in Excel, okay, when you clean your data in Excel, let's say you are cleaning 1,000 rows, right? You clean it, and again when you are adding 100 rows into this, so you have to perform the same operation again. But in case of Power Query, things are very easy. When you clean your data, let's say you're cleaning 1,000 rows, okay, and when you again add 100 rows, it will automatically clean those 100 rows using the operation you have performed on this data. Okay, operation on this data, right? That we'll see later when we are actually performing this. So Power Query, like see, the first we actually import data from data source, and after that we have Power Query, where in Power Query we clean our data, right? Now after cleaning the data, we make data models. Data models. Okay. So wait a minute. Hmm. So after cleaning the data, we have data model. So what is actually data model? What is data model? So basically, in case of data models, we make relationship. Now, what is relationship? I'm not talking about the relationship that we know in the college. It's not that. Okay. What I'm actually talking about is just that. Let's say you have three columns. You have three columns, right? You have three. Let's say you have three tables. I would sorry, like sometimes because you try to understand what I'm saying. Let's say you have three tables: table A, table B, and you have table C, right? So you want to create relationship between these tables. Okay, you want to create relationship between these tables that you do based on some common columns or based on some keys that we'll learn when we are into this part. Like how do we make relationship between the tables, how do we create it, and why relationship is important. What if we are not making relationship among the tables? We are going to learn all of this in the video when we are going to learn the data model and relationship, right? And after learning the relationship, what next we are actually going to do? We are going to write DAX queries. Very important thing. See, till now, first what we are actually going to do, we are going to import data from data source. Okay, and after that we are going to use Power Query, where we will clean our data. Okay, and after we are done with this, with that part, like cleaning part, we're actually going to do data models, like creating relationship among the tables that we have in the data. Okay, and after that what we are actually going to do is we are going to write DAX queries. What we are actually going to do, we are going to write DAX queries. Okay, so this is actually introduction videos. This is actually introduction video, but right from the next video, the notebook is going to be very clear that you can use it for the purpose of your revision. But I would always suggest you to make your own notes based on your own understanding, because when you are going to revise them, that's going to be much easier than using my notes. But still, I will try to make it the like very clear notes that you can use, right? So what I was actually saying that after making models, like data models, like creating relationship among the tables, we have to use the DAX. Now what is DAX? See, DAX, it is like you write some, it's like a code itself, like what you write in the Excel to perform some task. Okay, So actually something like DAX is something very similar to that. So data analysis expression, where we use it to write, like to perform different tasks on data, like to perform different operation on data. Okay, like we calculate measures. Okay, and like apart from that, we use calculated, like we make calculated columns. Okay, filter rows. Like there are a lot of things to learn in case of DAX. DAX is in itself a big syllabus, a big topics to study, but we are going to study the DAX that are very important for us in the industry. Okay, that are very important. So see, when you have to calculate MOM, month over month, year over year. Okay, so we are going to learn all of these when we are into the section of DAX. Okay, and after we learn the DAX, the next part that we are going to learn is the reports. See, so after you have done your DAX, you performed your DAX, then this is the time to make reports and dashboards. Report and dashboard. So see, this is again very important part. Like whatever operations we were doing, we imported data first, we used Power Query to clean the data and to automate the cleaning process. Okay, after that we finally started data models where we created relationship among the tables, and then we used a DAX. In DAX we made like we created measures. Okay, and we learned how do we calculate MOM, how do we calculate MOY. That we are going to learn it later in detail, how to make calculated columns using DAX queries. Okay, so after doing all of these things, we are finally into the section of reports and dashboards, where we use visuals to make the reports that is important for the decision taking, that we can explain to our manager, to our stakeholder, that what actually data says, and that can actually help in decision making. Okay, and after, like, see, after when we make the dashboards, the reports, what is the next thing that we are going to do? Do you, like, any of you have any idea? Anyone have any idea, like anything that you like, what next we are actually going to do? So see, the Power BI has a feature called publish, publish and share, share. So basically, like Power BI, like I'm talking about Power BI service. Power BI service has a feature called publish and share. Okay, so what we actually can do when we publish the, when we publish our dashboard, it is like it is available on the Power BI service, like on the cloud, and we can access our dashboard from anywhere. Okay, and if we want to embed our dashboard into the websites, we can also do that using the Power BI service. When we when we actually share it, there is a feature called embed your dashboard. So we'll learn about that as well. We'll make a website, and then we'll show you how we can embed any dashboard to our either to our portfolio or to any of the websites. We'll also learn that part as well. Okay, so till now we have learned about the Power BI workflows. Okay, now let's learn about what kind of project we are going to do when we are learning. Okay, so when we are actually learning the Power BI service, we'll basically using three data sets. Okay, so the first data sets that we will be the customer data set. Okay, and in the customer data sets we'll have, like, we might have customer ID, customer ID. Okay, and then customer name. Okay, and city, we might have city in joint date. So these sort of things we may have, and then the next data we would have is orders. Okay, the next table we would have is orders. Even there we will have different columns here that we will learn, and after that we would have product. So see, if we wanted to make dashboards, we could also do that using one data set itself. It would have been much easier. Okay, but I want every one of you to do this as how we do in the industry, as how we do in the companies. So that is why we would also be making dashboards using one data set, and we'll also be doing this using three data sets or four data sets, so that we learn better data model technique, that how do we make relationship among the tables. We'll also do that, but eventually we'll start by using single data set, so that it is very much easier for you to understand other parts of the Power BI. And then when you learn making the dashboards, we'll start making dashboards using the 3 to 4 tables, right?